All right, Jenna, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to get to talk to you. Please introduce yourself. Tell us your field of study and something about your career stage.
Thank you so much, Cathy. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Jenna Donohue. I'm an assistant professor of philosophy at the University of Arkansas. So still on the tenure track, hopefully getting close to going up soon, but luckily on track. And that is definitely in part due to your coaching. I'm
Yay.
happy to get to talk about that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, let's jump in. So you took the Navigate program. I would love for you to think back to like the first time you took Navigate and like why did you decide to join? Like what was it about it that was like, okay, yeah, this is the right time for me?
Yeah, good. I had a little bit of an advantage that I had done some of your workshops earlier when I was in grad school. So I already knew that I got a lot out of your coaching in particular. And I remember in grad school, the big like Cathy lesson was like learning about developing a positive relationship with your writing. And for me, that was so powerful because for a long time, had not had a positive relationship with my writing. And so going into Navigate, I kind of wanted to build on that insight and sort of continue to be able to do some actionable steps to kind of incorporate it into my sort of crazy tenure track life, which I was embarking on and excited about, but nervous about. And so Navigate has a lot of like actionable pieces. And that was going to be, I knew going in, helpful to me in terms of like getting my writing relationship kind of into my busy professor calendar, if that makes sense.
Nice. Yeah, 100%. So, what do you feel like when you remember back to that first time? Like, what was your experience like? What was your big takeaway? What do you feel like was like the big advantage of doing it once you got through the program?
I think the biggest advantage of Navigate, and I feel this way about all of your programs, is like they're just this is this like positive energy
Mm.
because so much of academia, and I love being a professor and I love philosophy, but so much of being in academia is like slogging through. It's like getting through the term. It's like navigating difficulties, and that can be good, but it can also just like wear on you. And my favorite part about Navigate is like, okay, we're going to be intentional. We're going to be intentional
Yeah.
about what our mission is, about what our goals are, about why we're actually in this big picture. And I think that that reorientation can be so helpful if you're sort of, I wouldn't say drowning because I was doing okay, but like struggling with the day-to-day kind of just like exhausting grind of an academic life. And that reorientation towards like, oh, you're doing this because you care about it. Like, let's talk about that can be so life-giving.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like trying to like flame that little ember that's inside that's like I got
Yeah.
into this for a reason. And it is like a little bit sometimes if you try to talk about academia to somebody who's not in it, they're like, why would you ever do that? So yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So you're a philosopher. I would like you to talk a little bit, if you can, to like how Navigate helped you, even though Navigate's a program that is really meant for to be field agnostic, right? It's supposed to help people write, it's pitched to write people, to help people write articles, no matter what field they're in. So tell me a little bit about how you kind of adapted that to your field in philosophy, which is kind of different in the kinds of papers that you write and how long they are, at least in my perception. So please tell us
Yeah,
about it.
fair enough. Some skills are totally transferable, like making a to-do list for what's left to be done on this paper and learning how to track the relationship between how long you think something's going to take and how long it actually takes. And then my other favorite Cathy insight is like your calendar and your writing plan need to live in the same universe, which I think is like very hard for a lot of people, but I actually think it's hard for philosophers in particular because when we get into our like deep work philosophy think, it's like we're not in the same world.
Yes.
But But there is a way of taking the lesson of like, okay, well, those 2 hours where you're going to not be in the world actually have to be mapped on your calendar so that you can have that time. So
Yeah.
it was helpful to me to like make that bridge between like mom academic teaching life and like deep work life.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the skills that I learned in my PhD about how to do philosophy in particular, Navigate is kind of like helping me translate them into my life. It's not like teaching me how to do philosophy, but it's teaching me how to have a better relationship with my work, life, teaching, service, craziness.
Yeah. And something, the way that you said that makes me think about how, like, what Navigate's really trying to do is put you in the center of all of that as the powerful agent
Right.
of what's happening in your career. So, like,
Right.
I'm not going to come and teach you how to write a philosophy paper because A, I don't know how to write a philosophy paper, but also, like, that would be silly because you need to be able to write as a philosophy paper, not me. So
Right.
you need to be able to figure out like how do I manage all of these things? And hopefully, right, from that very positive, agentive place of like, I can, I can take whatever this advice is and kind of adapt it into my own
Yeah, and I
situation.
mean, a lot of things are obviously field specific, but a lot of things are field agnostic. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I got a really hard set of reviews is something that I can relate to for the other folks in your classes that are not philosophers. They can relate to if I share it.
Yeah.
So there's actually a lot of crossover in what we're dealing with, even in terms of our publications, even though the research is obviously different.
Right, right. When you came into Navigate, I would like to talk like a little bit about like results. Like, did you submit a paper by the end of the 12 weeks? Or like how soon after you finished did you submit a paper? Especially too, because as we've been talking about in the workshops and stuff, like the the number of papers in different fields, the expectations are different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one doesn't usually write 10 philosophy papers in a year, but you might write 10 electrical engineering papers in a year. So, tell me a little bit about like kind of your results from Navigate in terms of actual publications.
Well, so the first round that I was doing, I had my low-hanging fruit, and I think I actually submitted it like halfway through the program because it was a little bit further along and kind of just needed that like
Yeah.
push over the edge.
Mhm.
And then I think I made some like significant progress on the second piece that I picked up.
Yeah.
So this is not true for everyone in my field, but what I tend to do is sort of prepare a conference presentation before I prepare a paper. So that conference presentation was ready for submission by the end too. So sort of like 1.5 papers, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. The second round that I did, I didn't have as low hanging of a fruit, in part because the results of Navigate were paying off. My pipeline wasn't quite as backlogged as it had been before.
Yeah.
And so I think I got one paper submitted by the end that time as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. And I, again, like, I think like I want to call out kind of parts of your journey because I think that other people could relate. So you didn't do one round of Navigate and then go right into the next round. Like, so what
No.
made you come back for the second round later,
Yeah, I mean,
instead of going right through?
yeah, I mean, part of it is cost, right? So it's like easier to build in the research cost for me if it's spread over a longer term. Um, so like last year I had a special grant to cover extra that gave me extra research funds that my college was offering. And for me, it was like a no-brainer to spend some of that on Navigate, but I don't have that kind of research funds every year. And so it's not something I can necessarily build into the budget all the time. Um, but I mean, there's also this built-in piece, which I don't think it's working against you, but like you can access the content for a
Right.
full year.
Yeah.
So there's sort of a pace to the program that works if you are, self-driven, where you can rewatch the lessons, especially the ones that are of particular relevance to you, for a while, and then you could decide, oh, it's the right time for me for round two. So that it was kind of a combination of like getting access to research funds and also like I don't have access to the lessons anymore. I really want to. So this is like
Yeah.
a good time to join round two for
Yeah.
me.
No, that makes total sense. Like, and I that is really deliberate, that thing about like you can come back anytime. And part of it is what is just making it as accessible as possible, right? Which is like, I don't like this idea of like there's pressure to like, that I hate a streak. So it's like you don't need to like not break a streak, you can just come back whenever you're ready, or
Right,
come back whenever
right,
you need it. Maybe you've had like a career pivot or a change and you're ready to
right.
come back and do it again. But also maybe just like the next time funds are available, you come back.
Exactly.
I think it's like the idea is you can always kind of reconnect with the community whenever you kind of feel like it. So I had another thought about there, but it has gone from my head. So this is what I started talking to
No
now. So
worries.
I'll just keep asking questions. Okay. So you did round one. Kind of a year later, you did round two. Um, you've also been doing these 3-day workshops that I've been doing more, not even more recently, because actually they've been happening now for the past 2.5 years, but I wasn't always like offering them to everyone. And like I told you before we hit record, like you're the reason I started offering them to everyone because I was doing these like Facebook ads to like supposedly cold traffic and to get people in to meet more people, right? Like to try to find more clients. And there's Jenna who turns up, because Facebook will just show you your ads to whoever. I
Yeah,
mean, because you don't tell it like don't show it to people who
right,
already know me.
right.
So what was the reason that you decided to do? So just for people who don't know, I do this 3-day workshop that's called Submit Your Almost Done Article in 3 days. It happens usually over a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's a 3-hour meeting, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Part of it is training, and then a big chunk of co-writing. And the idea is you choose one article that's almost done, and using the co-writing sessions and the strategies and the planning that I teach in the workshop, you submit it by Friday. So tell me what made you sign up for that?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is like if I see you pop up on Facebook, I'm probably gonna like go in for seeing what it is because I
Yeah.
like already know and trust you. And I figure it doesn't hurt you to have the Facebook traffic.
Yeah.
But like getting Cathy for a couple days a week for $97 is like a steal. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna try this. And then when I did the one in May, I got my paper submitted. And
Yes.
so it
Yes,
just
you
like
did.
it was like great to like I mean, there are some things I'm not as good at making myself do at home, right? Which is
Yeah.
like making the writing plan and writing down the time to task. And so
Right.
part of what the writing workshop makes me do is do those things. But the other thing
Mhm.
is that it offers this built-in time of co-writing. Um, and so then for the August session, I was like telling everyone, like, I told so many of my friends, like, I got a paper submitted. You've been hearing me rave about my writing coach for years. And like, here's a really low risk way to
Yeah.
do it. And I'm
Yeah.
going to do the August one too. So I don't know. There's a lot of value in like a pick me up over a short period of time, right? Which was part
Yes.
of what was nice about you doing the quick navigate this summer, but
Yep.
I was way too busy with travel during those periods. But in May and August, I happened to be free. So I was like, I'm gonna jump on this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And that's exactly what I want. I want people to say, like, here, you can do this thing with this person that I really have had success with. And it's like pretty, accessible. And
Right.
it's almost, I used to do these like online writing retreats that I pretty much stopped doing because after COVID, everybody was just like so tired of doing
Yeah.
like big, long things online. But it's a similar the 3-day thing workshop is a similar kind of idea. It's like a concentrated, like, oh, we're gonna do it together. Um, so
But
I'm always happy to have you there.
it's sort of this nice mix because it's like a half
Yeah.
day, 3 days. So like
Yep.
even though it's August and I have to get the kids ready for school, like that can happen on Tuesday and I can write on Monday. So it's actually this really nice way of kind of like giving me a pick me up on my writing right before diving into the busyness of the semester. So for
Yeah.
me, it's actually been really great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, it was timed on purpose that way too. The idea was like, let's do this like early in August because again, like I can never time it for like all universities everywhere,
Right.
but that a
Right.
lot of universities where my clients come from are going to start in mid or late August. And so if we do an early August thing and we get like a great like writing win
Right.
before the semester starts, it's like you
Right.
can start with a lot more confidence.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. So what are some things about Navigate? that you like, if you can remember any tools or strategies or that kind of thing that you kind of still use all the time.
I mean, I think the biggest one is the pipeline because I had
Yeah.
never really taken the time to sit down and map out my pipeline. And I think I said a little bit earlier in the conversation, like I submit to a conference and then, but getting intentional about that was something that happened during Navigate. Before I was kind of like chasing deadlines or, oh, this conference looks good. But now it's more like I have an intentional set. I actually have like a Google Sheet of when the conference's deadlines are that I would like to attend. And I kind of intentionally plan my projects around that. And I sort of have a better sense of like how many projects it works for me to have in each stage of the pipeline. Because for some people, like they could have more things in the drafting stage. For me, that doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, the other thing is, as you've kind of developed more tools surrounding writing problems versus writing tasks, I think it actually really helps solve writing problems if you're letting yourself focus on kind of like one project.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you for what it's worth that you don't have to write every day. But I think if you're working on one project twice a week, your brain can work on the writing problems in the background in a way that it can't if, like, on Tuesdays you're writing on paper one and on Thursdays you're writing on paper four. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing is like getting more intentional about my pipeline. But then the secondary effects is like, I think that has good effects on my relationship with my writing overall.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. Okay. So to wrap up, who do you recommend take Navigate? Like, who would you say Navigate is for?
I mean, I think it's really for anybody that's working in academia that wants a better relationship between their research, writing, service, and teaching. But if I was like, oh, you need this, I would recommend it to anyone who feels like they're drowning or kind of like a rock in a current, like getting pushed from thing to thing, because it really lets you kind of sit down, like you were saying, put yourself and your mission back at the center and kind of like think about why it is that you're in this and not feel like you're constantly just being pushed by the waves that are
Yeah.
crashing over your head.
Yes. Yes. It's like, let's take action with intentionality
Right.
instead of like, and get out of this. I'm always reacting because always reacting is
Yes.
so stressful, really
Yes.
stressful.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jenna. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Hey there, if you're ready to have results like this and change your writing, publishing, and your career forever, it's time for you to join Navigate. We are enrolling now. All you need to do is find the link in the show notes. It's scholarsvoice.org/navigate. You can read all about the program and click the big pink button to apply. We're enrolling right now for our fall cohort of Navigate, which is my program that teaches you how to publish your backlog of papers. But really, it's more than that. It teaches you these 3 essentials to a flowing publication pipeline. But those 3 essentials won't just change your publishing. It's going to change your whole career. So go to scholarsvoice.org/navigate, find the pink button, hit it to apply. You still have plenty of time to apply before we close applications and enrollment on August 28th. We close on August 28th because we start on August 31st. I can't wait to work with you in this program, and I hope to get your application. I read each and every one individually. All right, apply for Navigate today.